In a quiet village nestled between mountains, lived a woman named Maria. She was known for her kind heart and endless patience, always there to lend a helping hand to her neighbors, even when her own burdens were heavy. But behind her gentle smile, Maria carried a deep sadness, one that only a few people knew about. Maria was the mother of 2 children, Sofia, her eldest, and Leo, her youngest. From the moment they were born, Maria's life revolved around them. Her husband, Marcos, was a hard-working man, but life hadn't been easy for them. Money was always tight, and Marcos often traveled for work, leaving Maria to take care of everything at home. She never complained, even though the weight of raising 2 children on her own sometimes felt overwhelming. Sofia and Leo were as different as night and day. Sofia was quiet, studious, and always eager to please her mother. She helped with the chores and spent hours reading by Maria's side. Leo, on the other hand, was wild and full of energy. He was always getting into trouble, running through the fields and coming home with scraped knees and a mischievous grin. Despite their differences, both children adored their mother, though as they grew older, life began to pull them in different directions. Sofia, the responsible one, always felt the pressure to succeed. She worked hard in school, determined to get a scholarship and leave the village to pursue her dreams in the city. Leo, meanwhile, struggled to find his path. He didn't share his sister's passion for academics and often skipped school to spend time with his friends. This worried Maria deeply, but she knew pushing Leo too hard would only drive him further away. As the years passed, Maria's once vibrant energy began to fade. She hid her exhaustion from her children, always putting on a brave face. Every day, she worked tirelessly in the fields, cooked meals, and sewed clothes to make ends meet. Her hands, once soft, were now rough and calloused, a testament to the sacrifices she made for her family. When Sofia turned 18, she received the news she had been waiting for. She had earned a full scholarship to a prestigious university in the city. The family celebrated, and Maria, though proud, couldn't shake the feeling of sadness that crept into her heart. Her little girl was leaving, and while she knew this was what Sofia had worked for, the thought of their home without her daughter's laughter was almost unbearable. Sofia promised to write and visit as often as she could, but life in the city was demanding. The letters became less frequent, and the visits home were rare. Maria missed her daughter terribly, but she never let Sofia know how much. She wanted her to chase her dreams without guilt or worry. Meanwhile, Leo's troubles grew worse. He had fallen in with a bad crowd, and Maria often stayed up late, praying that he would return home safely. She tried talking to him, but Leo was distant, consumed by his own frustrations and anger. He resented his sister for being the golden child and felt like he could never measure up. Maria could see the pain in his eyes, but no matter how much love she gave, it never seemed enough to reach him. One evening, after another heated argument with Leo, he stormed out of the house. Maria sat by the window, waiting for him to return as she always did. But this time the hours passed and Leo didn't come back. The next morning, the police knocked on her door. Leo had been involved in a fight and things had gone horribly wrong. He was arrested, and the news shattered Maria's already fragile heart. The shock of it all felt like a weight pressing on her chest, as if the air had been stolen from the room. The dream she had for her son's future crumbled in an instant, replaced by an overwhelming sense of helplessness. She blamed herself for not being able to guide him better, for not being enough to pull him away from the path that had led to this tragic end. But as a mother, no matter the mistakes, no matter the heartbreak, her love for Leo remained steadfast. Maria visited Leo in jail every week, bringing him food and clean clothes, though he rarely spoke to her. She could see the regret in his eyes, but he was too proud to admit it. Despite everything, Maria's love for her son never wavered. She prayed that one day he would find his way back to her, but deep down, she feared that the boy she once knew was lost forever. Sofia, now busy with her career, couldn't understand why her mother continued to support Leo. "He made his choices, Mama," she would say during their infrequent phone calls. You can't keep sacrificing yourself for him. But Maria didn't see it that way. She believed in unconditional love, the kind that never gave up, no matter how difficult the circumstances. As the years dragged on, Maria's health began to decline. She had always been strong, but the constant worry and heartache had taken its toll. Sofia visited occasionally, but her life in the city was far removed from the struggles of the village. She didn't notice the dark circles under her mother's eyes or the way her hands trembled when she tried to hold a cup. One cold winter evening, Maria collapsed while preparing dinner. She had ignored the pain in her chest for weeks, pushing through because there was always work to be done. When Sofia received the call, she rushed back to the village, guilt washing over her. How had she missed the signs? How had she let so much time pass without really seeing her mother? At the hospital, Sofia sat by her mother's bedside, holding her frail hand. "I'm sorry, Mama," Sofia whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I should have been here more." Maria, weak but still full of love, smiled softly. "You did what you needed to do, Sofia. I'm proud of you." Her voice was faint, each word a struggle. "Just promise me, you'll take care of your brother." Sofia nodded, though the words felt heavy in her heart. Leo hadn't come to see their mother, too ashamed of the man he had become. Sofia knew the road ahead would be hard, but she also knew that her mother had never given up on either of them, even when they didn't deserve her kindness. That night, as Maria slipped away, Sofia sat by her side, overwhelmed by the weight of her mother's silent sacrifices. Maria had lived her life for her children, giving everything she had without asking for anything in return. In her last moments, she had not thought of herself, but of her son, her daughter, and the love that would never fade, even in death. As Sofia left the hospital, she made a vow to honor her mother's legacy, not just by succeeding in her career, but by carrying the love and compassion that had defined Maria's life. It was a lesson she had learned too late, but one that would stay with her forever. And though Leo's path was uncertain, Sofia knew that Maria's love had not been in vain. It had been the quiet force that held their family together, and it would continue to guide them, even in her absence.